Welcome to From the Concrete, the series that recognizes pioneers, innovators, trendsetters, and most of all, the next generation of changemakers by giving them their flowers now. I'm your host, Brianna Elmore. Y'all, we have some pretty legendary guests, okay?
When do those guys show up?
Yeah. They're here. Hate to be the bearer of bad news.
Pioneers or trendsetters? I don't think we're either.
I beg to differ, but that's how your career keeps growing when you don't think it. But we're here to do it.
There you go. Okay.
So we have Mr. John D.Beck and Ron Hart. How are you guys?
Great. Thank you for inviting us.
Thanks for having us. Yeah.
Thank you guys
really
for
cool.
coming. I'm super excited. But you guys know, like I know, that this bio goes pretty hard. So I'm going to have luckily for you,
I might have to have you follow me around.
Yeah.
To make me feel better just about
I would
everyday
gladly
life.
hype you and gas you all the days of your life.
You'll
if
be
you
my
like.
Crystal Flavor Flav.
Yeah,
Just hyping it up.
No clock, but yes. Instead of a clock, I'll have a fro.
All right.
Oh, yeah. So that'll be my trademark for y'all. All right, so I'm going to get into this bio real quick.
All right.
Because it's pretty freaking serious.
Wow.
All right.
Okay.
John D.Beck and Ron Hart are an award-winning television and writing and producing duo, renowned for their contributions to popular sitcoms. Y'all, buckle up, because these are pretty serious. Their collaboration began in the late 1990s, working on series like Student Bodies, Hey Arnold, and The Hughleys. They gained prominence as key writers and producers on According to Jim from 2002 to 2009, contributing to nearly every episode and writing 22 of them.
Condemnation.
It sounds
It's all their fault.
No. Y'all, I'm not going to get through this.
Sorry.
In 2013, Beck and Hart co-created the Disney Channel series Liv and Maddie, showcasing their ability to craft engaging family-friendly content. They continued their partnership on consulting producers on Netflix Disjointed from 2017 to 2018 and contributed to Fuller House from 2018 to 2020. Their production company, Beck and Hart Productions, underscores their enduring influence in the television industry. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having us.
You guys, come on. Like, you guys just, like, are so casual about completely, like, just casually just writing my whole childhood. You know, no big deal.
I want to know how we're award winning. I think you probably snuck that in. There was on the Hughleys we won like best like producing for a small business. So it was like
How
the most.
dare you? We've won a Genesis Award.
A Genesis Award?
Yes.
Oh, I guess we've won KCAs
And
in
a
Latin
Prism.
America.
We won all kinds of stuff.
A lot of KCAs down in Latin. Something about Liv and Maddie was very popular in the like.
Liv E. Maddie.
Livy Maddie.
Livy Maddie. But see, when you guys are this goated, like, of course you might forget about an award or two.
That's true.
Yeah. But
hard.
listen,
It's
luckily
hard.
you're here to
It's
get
hard,
some
Brie.
flowers. This is another award here. So
Appreciate
you
it.
being here.
We had to
so-
Google what "get your flowers" meant. And now the approach is yes. Now we know.
And now you're
Yeah.
comfortable with it. You're going to
Totally
get comfortable if you're not. So are you guys ready to dig in?
Let's do it.
All right,
do it.
let's do this. I'm so excited. Let's start with getting to know more about what led you on your path in getting to the root. Are y'all ready?
We're ready. I'm super ready with my super green gloves.
Yeah.
Yes.
You
I'm
guys are
going to
gonna
get
green
like
screen
y'all.
the corporate logos on here.
We're going to put it's going to be the logo on there. It already is pretty much there.
So this is like hot ones, but we don't get to eat anything. That's what I'm
You can
saying.
eat the flowers
Yeah.
if you want to.
Yeah, but you got to wait for them to grow. All right.
Because it's like the hot ones is like after a certain point you can't even hear what they say. So we all have our gloves on.
Yes.
We're gonna start
Gloves
with
on.
like pouring a little bit of dirt in there. I like
All
to
right.
put some dirt in and then just like let it settle and then we'll
What
put
does
a little,
the dirt symbolize?
The dirt symbolize the concrete. You know what I mean? Where we're
Wait,
getting
why does
at.
he get more dirt than me? That doesn't feel fair.
I got a stronger foundation.
I have a little extra dirt.
We don't pour all this in though.
No.
Just a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm going to cover it up if you pour it all in first.
Put a little taste.
Come on, have you never potted a plant?
Well, it's the first time for
Not on a podcast.
Not on a podcast. There's too much pressure.
Yeah.
So clearly, this is a love at first sight scenario here. So how did this dynamic duo come about?
Ron and I actually met at
God, he's
Syracuse
gonna tell
when
the story. I've
He
heard
was
this
a
story
senior.
for 30
we
years
gotta
now.
get to the root. Hello.
met at Syracuse University and Ron through the cool parties. So.
Okay.
There was,
So you had
yeah,
the bangers.
I had the bangers.
Okay.
There's the one party I remember very vividly where I made. Is it what is the family friendliness? Like what? How are we on language? Like if I said Smurf piss, is that allowed?
I think that's good.
Okay,
That's
all
about
right.
as close as we're
I'll
gonna
say
get.
I made Smurf pee. Then you could put it either way. So anyway,
Either way tastes fine.
yeah.
A few different ingredients.
So it was, but we had blueberries in there and with a lot of Everclear alcohol. And John was a freshman, and I came by the punch bowl, and everybody had drank the punch, and the blueberries were in there. And he said, he and this other guy were like, "Can we eat the blueberries because they soak up all the alcohol?" And I go, "Sure, knock yourselves out." And then 2 hours later, I happened by the same spot, and they were in the exact same spot, and they were just smiling ear to ear, and they just said, "We hate the blueberries." I was like, "All right, this is the guy I want to spend the rest of my life with."
That's when I knew.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, this is
it. Was
it.
love at first blueberry. You know.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Well, I was like, smart man, to know that the fruit was gonna soak it.
I didn't know that. I just like blueberries.
I was gonna say from the blueberry perspective, you were like, he just kept coming around. I
just
didn't know.
wanted to get some antioxidants.
I'm trying to be healthy. You were on your P's and Q's.
Exactly.
So, how has your experience working on some of my favorite, and I'm very sure some of our favorite 90s series like Student Bodies and Hey Arnold, how has that contributed to your journey of eventually running your own series with Liv and Maddie?
that's a really good question. I mean, go ahead.
Early on, we were still working as assistants. We sold the episode of Hey Arnold, and then we had literally just gotten our first assignment on the Hughleys when we did Student Bodies, which was its own cool thing because it was a freelance episode we got for a show in Canada that we got the exact same week we did our first episode of the Hughleys. It was
It's like,
okay,
this is the
we have to
best week ever, right?
Yeah, but they were like, oh wait, we have to do 2 scripts in 1 week. Oh, okay, we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out.
Right.
And the day that we had our first table read ever on network television for the Hughleys was the day we were supposed to get notes for the first episode of Student Bodies. And the table read went fantastic on the Hughleys. And we're like, oh, now we got to go get our notes from this other thing that...
Yeah.
Well, you were telling us all wrong. We didn't. No, that wasn't what happened. We had the table read. We had to get both the scripts done at the same time.
Yes.
This is the 90s. And Student Bodies filmed in Canada. We were on the set for the Hughleys. And then we faxed the script to Canada. That's how old we are. And you'll have maybe a pop-up that'll explain what a fax is.
See, kids,
You see,
fax
So-
machine.
once
which is
upon a
short for
time.
facsimile.
We had the table read, and then we got a call.
Yes, our notes call.
We didn't know we were going to get the call. We were like, oh no,
Oh,
because
yeah.
we had just sent this in. They literally had it for 2 hours. We're like, well, send it in right before the table. That way they won't bother us because they'll take at least a day to read it. And within 2 hours, they called us and they're like, we need to talk to you about the script. And we were panicked because we were like, we can't do a page 1 on this thing. Not this week. We can't do it. And we got on the phone with them. Now you can pick up. Now
They
you're
said,
back in.
so we had a couple things we had to talk to you about,
Dude, the Mackenzie brothers.
they're like, in Canada, we're in the metric system. So you said inches here, which should be centimeters. Like,
Oh,
oh, we could change that.
Yeah.
What else? Well, we don't call them yearbooks. We call them magazines. Okay. We could change that. Like, oh, great, we're good then. I'm like, oh, that's it?
Right.
Metric system and magazines? Great. Thank you,
it's just
Student
because
Bodies.
we didn't grow up in Canada.
I guess.
Okay, that's fair and fine.
Yeah, that was probably still the best notes call we've ever had. It was incredible.
To date.
Yes.
But our time at the Hughleys kind of started at the same time, which was maybe the greatest kind of learning experience for us
It was so good.
ever. D.L. Hughley, as far as I'm concerned, one of the 5 greatest Americans of all time. And I couldn't even tell you who the other 4 is, so he might be
I
number
was going to
one.
ask, yeah. No, talk about
DL and Matt Wickline and John Bowman pushed for us to get on staff, and we learned so much about how to write and produce for people in front of the camera. You'll find a lot of writers who are worried about their precious words and getting people to kind of change what they do to fit their words. We come about it from a completely different way of being. We were taught early on that your number one job as a writer-producer is to make the people who are in front of the camera as comfortable as possible so they can do the thing that they do best without even having to think about it. So we and DL taught us early on that there's a difference. A joke could be great on the page, and if it doesn't work for the person who's delivering the joke, it isn't, and it could be a great joke, but it's not necessarily great for that situation
Say
or
it
that
like
person.
he said it, though. Come on.
Go ahead.
He's like, you're not the ones that have to walk through the airport and hear people say, hey, I heard what you said on your show.
Exactly.
So you got to think like that.
And DL might have thrown in a few choice words on top of it. But I also remember, because we were, we were babies, and to get on staff was a fight. Like John said, Matt Wickline and DL were executive producers, and the studio was telling them they didn't have the budget, and they didn't want, and they like really went to the mattresses for us, and we thank Matt. And I remember when I went to tell DL, like, thank you for, getting us on staff. I still remember, and I quote him every now and then. I said, thank you so much. And he said, don't thank me, show me. And I really took that seriously, because he was like, yeah, I put my ass on the line, and like, you guys better and we did. We tried to show up, and but we were very fortunate because that room was just filled with showrunners and future showrunners, and they all wanted to be mentors. It wasn't like
Which isn't how it always works in this business.
Yeah.
We didn't realize at the time.
Which is really special, too. And I think that what you guys were able to accomplish on that show, it was funny. It was funny. Like, it's timeless funny. Like, you can watch it today and still laugh. You
Literally
know what I mean?
can watch it today. It just got picked up on Netflix this summer. So
yeah,
I've been watching. So yes, so it's like it's really
pretty
good.
Well. Yeah,
I feel like it's in some '90s shows cannot have that conversation. So I think that also speaks to just that mentality, and I think that how would you guys say that the mentality you guys were able to foster in that kind of like incubator of like talent, and for that to be one of your like first experiences, how would you say that has like molded and shaped you into the talent that you guys are today?
One of the really cool things about that show is, and it's something you can only kind of do in the multicam format, which is one of the reasons we love it and have worked exclusively in multicam for, 2 decades at this point, is they're like, you know what, let's try it. And let's see, we'll see it tomorrow. Yeah. On a multicam thing, you've got the various drafts before you even get to the table read, which is the first time you hear the actors kind of say the words for the first time. And then you rewrite, and then you'll see a run-through the next day, and then you rewrite, and then you see a run-through after that, and then you get to see it up on its feet for pre-tapes, and then the audience comes in, which is when you really find out if you've been completely like lying to yourself the entire time, because the audience will let you know if this works or doesn't work. But because of that, you get to give something a shot, because you'll get to see it. But then you also have to be wise enough to be like, okay, we tried it, that didn't work. And you could try to convince yourself, but you want to get to Friday and find out in front of 500 people in the audience that it didn't work, because it's really brutal when you've insisted something's going to work and you hear those crickets in front of the crowd.
Yeah, it's like you're dying on this hill, and it's like...
So it's give it a shot, but don't be afraid to say, okay, I shot my shot and that did not work, let's try something else. That's the beauty of... And again, it comes down to DL saying, okay, that joke is a great joke, doesn't work for here. So... Somebody's like, well, that's a really funny joke. It's like, yeah, well, tomorrow you're going to have another really funny joke right in that same spot.
Yeah.
Because there's always something else that you can do. And that's the cool thing about this business, and also the maddening thing about this business. You can have 700 people in a room, and everybody's got a completely different opinion about something. and everybody's right. And it's just about, okay, whose right are we going to pick today and follow down that path? And it doesn't have to be your right. And like, that's always been our...
does.
That's always been like our
Yeah.
like hope anytime we have run anything because of this background. It's like never send something to the stage without having a plan for how to do it, and then hope to God somebody else has a better plan.
Yeah.
And then pivot to that. Because the one time you just say, well, somebody else will come up with a better plan, and you send it to the stage, that's the time everybody's like,
For sure.
how do we do this?
What did you guys mean by this?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I have no
that's
idea.
on
Yeah.
your shoulders.
And then it's like, oh, was that a regional joke? Like,
Yeah.
you know, is that something that if you only grew up where I did, you understand it?
Exactly.
Everybody wants to know the secret. Like, what makes a great writing and producing team like yours? So when you were talking about show running too, and just being able to trust, you know, and just be like, not have to hold the reins so like tightly.
Yeah.
I think, do you attribute that to being in a working partnership all the time where you it's like, okay, I'm used to being able to not have all the reins, know what's going on for sure, but like, did that help you in when you made that transition? But also it's like, how did y'all get there and get that type of trust?
Being part of a writing team is like
Yeah.
being part of a marriage. You have to find
That,
you have to find somebody who you literally are trusting your career with, if that's what you decide to do. For us, the nice thing about it, especially when we were first starting out, is you have your first audience. You know, if you pitch something and you get a laugh, it's like, okay, that's good. That should go in there.
especially for comedy.
If you pitch something and
critical.
it's like gets a thud, you're like, well, maybe we won't go down that road all that.
Yeah.
But and also like when you get notes, you got somebody else to kind of work through them a little bit. And like you said, trust is a huge thing, and realizing, okay, my idea might not be the best idea for this particular moment, and you listening, just kind of wait for somebody else to come in and make the save if somebody else has the save.
Yeah.
And it's also like building up a shorthand with one another, you know, like he could turn to me and say like medium earrings, and I'd be like, you're right. And like everyone else is like, what's going on? And like, but it's like,
you guys have a different language.
That's a writing term that if
yeah.
you can have.
If the line mentions the earrings, when the character enters, the earrings should either be earrings or they should be giant earrings.
They should either be tiny, like elegant earrings.
Yes.
They're not supposed to be a joke, or you want big giant earrings. If they're medium, it's like, oh, that's neither here nor there. That's not a joke, and it's not nice. So
just
you're not
earrings.
getting any attention to it. That's medium earrings.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's like, you can just like, it's like you can take it or leave it.
Yes, it's neither here nor there.
But you know, he'll be off on stage, and I'd be in the room, and I'll just like mutter, John will say that's medium earrings, and the whole room will look at me like,
What are you talking about?
What is like what?
He was like, your ears aren't even pierced. What are you talking about? Yeah.
But I also think like like we've mentioned DL, but also like we spent 7 years on According to Jim, and that like Jim was very particular about how he thought he should say things, and we got very used to like writing for him, and I think
Never written for a more distinct, different, unique point of view
right.
than than Jim in our entire career. And it was not always easy, but it was always interesting, and that's what made the show work. Is it's like, okay, you knew exactly what this guy was going to do, but the way he was going to do it was going to be like something you'd never seen before.
And we learned very early on that like that was like there was no point in like grinding against the gears of the machine, because it was like the show is called According to Jim. Jim is going to be in these episodes.
All roads got to lead to Jim.
All roads got to lead to Jim, and Jim has to be like, people are watching the show to see Jim, and see Jim be his best self.
And you may not agree with what the character does, but that's what this character would do.
Yeah.
And don't try to teach this character a lesson that this character is not going to learn.
Right, because Cheryl can't do it. Who
exactly
gonna do it? You know what I mean? How
the
can
Her
movie
name's
is-
Cheryl. She really has
She
seen
knows
the
her
show.
stuff. There's a movie, Apollo 13, that I always think about with sitcom writing, especially once you get into the season. And they're like, okay, we got everybody up in space. We got to bring them down, and we've got to create some new air scrubbers. And here's what we have up there. And it's a box full of odds and ends. Is like, how do you this is what we have. We don't have anything else. We have this. How do you make it work?
Yeah.
Or else everybody's going to die.
Yeah.
Or else your episode is going to fall and you're going to get canceled. This is what you have.
Yeah.
Figure out how to make it work.
Yeah. And then also it's like you guys, it seems that you all were being quite like studious and being able to study him and being able to study all the characters and understand how they would do, which is what you do in writing. But I think, like you said, it's such a distinct voice and it's such a distinct mission with that show specifically because it, again, all roads have to lead to him. And then it's like he's going to evolve a little bit, but then also not. So it's like, it's just like you have to still stay true to him because he's not going to, he's not going to be somebody leading a feminist march at any point, you know what I mean, in the show. And so
but that was then also great training for, like, because we ended up, like, we didn't really plan it, but we ended up writing, we were at the Disney Channel and Nickelodeon, and we're on all these shows with, like, really young performers who didn't know their voice. And it became, like, our job to listen to them and, like, kind of figure out.
75% of writing is listening.
Yeah. Like, this is what works for them. And, like, I can write, like, to go back to the DL thing, I could put the best joke ever on page. But if this performer doesn't know how to make that funny, then, like, what's the point, So you have to, learn to trust your cast to make their own choices, but also, like, learn to trust yourself to, like, hear what they're doing and try to make it easier for them. Like, you want your performers to stretch and, like, use all their talents, but also, like, you want to put them in a comfortable place, I think, especially for comedy, just to, like, to be, engaged.
Because you can't force comedy like that. Like, you have to give them enough room and enough, like, hijinks and enough area to be able to make these scenarios funny or to be able to improv to do that.
And what most people don't realize, especially in kids' TV, it's a little different with adult TV. There's not a lot of time for rehearsal. There's I didn't realize this till I was directing. Like, you're down there and there's maybe 10 minutes per scene per day. Unless there's a bigger scene and then you make everything else is 5 minutes to rehearse, so you have more time with this other scene. You don't have a lot of time, especially with kid hours. So you need to make sure that you are identifying what somebody is good at and then have them do that because they're not going to turn into a Shakespearean actor if they've done 3 Campbell soup commercials and aren't trained in that direction. So figure out what makes your performer special and then put them in the position to succeed. Even if it's not what you initially thought it would be. Your job as a producer is to make the people in front of the camera feel as relaxed and as taken care of as possible so they can do this very vulnerable thing, which is performing in front of cameras and being funny and it's not easy. And they're not going to do it if they're feeling the pressure of having to. It feels weird to say for an actor to be somebody who they're not. Obviously, that is the job of an actor is to pretend. But you're there because there is some special quality about you that you're tapping into to make that role. And that might be your training, but it's not going to be that 10 minutes of rehearsal in a multicam that day. Like, you need to already kind of own who you are.
Yeah,
that makes sense. Acting for TV. I'm sorry to cut you off.
No, I said that makes sense. That was it.
Acting for TV is a little different because I think you like, it's not like a play or a movie where you're going to immerse yourself in this thing. I think you wind up having to get comfortable in the part in your own skin. The first kids show we worked on was Shake It Up with Zendaya, who was, she was 13 when we met her and was not Zendaya. She had a last name when we met her, but like they were, and she was with another a woman named Bella Thorne, and they were kids, and they did not have a lot of acting chops, and the show was about them being dancers on a show, and so every week they were doing 2 hours of choreo a day for these big like production numbers, and then when you're shooting with minors, you have a limited amount of time in the day. So like so much of their workday was like focusing on the dance steps, which was like the sizzle of the show. But it was like then there was like 20 minutes of like airtime where they were talking. That was like, and they needed like more rehearsal time. They needed more practice basically. And I think I remember we were like the ones saying like, maybe we should do episodes where they don't dance. Like maybe every now and then. And Disney Channel's like, what are you talking about? What is this show? Yeah.
No, that's the whole thing.
Yeah. And I should just say, like, obviously Zendaya has done an amazing job, a lot of growth.
Right.
Yes,
She's incredible.
She's astounding.
I
Yeah.
love that. Now, you've done so much in your career, but we would love to know how you fill your own cup and pour into yourself.
Two things kind of come to mind to me. I mean, number one, when we are working, having a big, fun room. I mean, when a multicam sitcom is done right, it is the greatest job in the world because you're sitting around a table with 10 people who you enjoy being around, trying to crack each other up. When it's, thank you very much. On the other hand, when things are not going well, boy, is it tough because you got to sit around a table with 10 people maybe you don't like so much and really try to crack somebody else up that is kind of wanting to not laugh at what you're pitching.
Thank you.
We've been very good that we're rarely in a room like that. The other thing that we've been doing lately is Ron and I started a bowling league team. So we're going to go out every Wednesday, and I'm a little ashamed at how much of my self-worth and self-esteem lately is tied up in how well we did bowling the week before. We made the finals 2 straight seasons, so thank you very much.
Yes.
Just a humble brag.
Yeah, we got a big trophy.
He got the trophy. Go home with me, I noticed. Yeah.
He conveniently left it.
It's a really good question, and it's one
There's whiskey in this. Great.
Just a little, look, a
That's
little
how we
extra kick.
replenish. Yeah.
So you can spill more tea. It's a little in there.
My wife always asks me how I replenish myself, and it's I think I think the fact that John's answer was like we work says a lot. It's true. It's like we're so fortunate that we lucked into it, like, and truly feel like lucky that we got this job, and it is just the most fun, But it's like the trade-off for this the job is that it comes with existential angst because you like constantly like everyone works in this industry is unemployed at some point. Like it's just like the nature of the job. We are nomads. We go from job to job, and
We're basically circus folk.
yes, a little better washed, but basically, but like and right now it's like the circus is not touring very much, so it's scary, yeah, and you have to find ways. I happen to like just fall into this like I guess hobby. Like my wife took me to the Moth, which is like they do storytelling, and like they have story slams where you just put your names in and like you tell a 5-minute story. And she really wanted to go. There was an episode or like they gave you a topic, and it was about inked, like making a permanent decision. And her father passed away in a car accident where she was injured, so she didn't go to his funeral. And somebody made an audio recording of it, and she listened to it once and decided to destroy it and regretted that decision. This is the story she wanted to tell, right? So I went with her for support, threw my name in the hat as well. And if you know sitcoms, obviously you know what's going to happen next. She did not get picked, and I got picked, and told a story about being a mascot in Syracuse and making a fake ID for the Orange to buy alcohol. So anyway, that got me up on stage, and like I won, but I was like, I thought I was going to pass out. I was so nervous, and it upset me that I was so nervous in that moment. So I kept going back to it, and now it's become like kind of like a hobby, and it's like the most navel gazing thing you can do, like to go up in front of 200 people and talk about yourself. But I know it's been really interesting for me as a writer. Like it's a very specific template that's like a 5-minute story. You really got to like learn to like throw out the things you don't need, and like how to like stick to it, like a structure, and also like getting up on stage taught me a new empathy for performers. I noticed it when I was on the sound stage, like knowing that like I'm telling like somebody just say it'll be funny, and like it's like they have to really believe that they're putting that their whole bodies out there, and I'm just like I think this line will work, like go
Yeah, and
go
it's
go
like-
try it.
It's like if they don't think it's funny, we're not gonna think it's funny. You know.
Exactly. So yeah, so I think that's sort of like how I replenish, I guess. But which is also, as my wife would point out, just another shade of the same thing.
Yeah.
So my answer is the same as John's,
But
basically.
you
The
like
other thing I
you're
also
passionate about
love
it.
to do, like my favorite thing in the world to do is be an assistant Little League baseball coach.
Oh wow.
And I love to work with the guys at the very bottom of the roster who maybe haven't played before.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I don't want to be the head coach. The head coach looks at some of those people like, oh my gosh, that's an
That's
automatic
pretty
out. I can't
intimidating.
catch.
Yeah, no.
Like, let me work with those guys because I guarantee you I'll use the same tricks I use on my kid actors to make them believe that they can do something that they had no idea thought they were capable of before they showed up here. And nothing makes me more proud than you get later into the season once I've worked with those kids before, and suddenly somebody comes up with a base hit or just makes contact with a ball, and you just see the joy and the pride in their faces, like, oh my gosh, my mom made me do this, and I didn't really want to, but then I kind of did want to, and now I'm doing this thing that I never thought I'd be able to do, and I love that more than anything.
But honestly, I think that speaks to both of you. Like, just like, first of all, you guys are doing stuff that you guys do care about and you love. And it's so even being in performance and also being in the role of like leadership, but also encouraging and making sure that you're fostering other people to continue to believe in themselves. I would have to agree with your wife. You guys are just doing, you have it's the same word, maybe different fonts for that, because I see, but also if that's who you are and it also you're passionate about it, I feel like it is a good way to continue to replenish, because also, as storytellers, you have to live and you have to actually experience life. So I think that can also help influence your art as well. So we do not replenish shame around here. So don't worry about that. What advice would you give young, aspiring, new writers? How would you give them hoping to break
Stay
into
away.
it? What would you tell them about how to help their mental health?
Oh, okay. All
Outside
right.
of
There
not
you go.
doing it.
Fair. Trick me up.
Gotcha. Also, let's water these plants a little bit too.
I mean, one thing we always tell people, because this is something we had to learn, like if someone gives us a script to read and then we're going to give them notes on it, or they're going to pitch something and we're going to like tell them why it stinks, is that, this is like literally we'll say this every time. Your name is on the title page, not ours. So like, and you're going to ask other people, like, make it the version you want it to be. And then hope that is like what gets out there and sells. Because if you keep chasing like what you think is the right thing, or what people are expecting, then you're never gonna get it, because it's every time you show someone your script, they're gonna be able to like give you 9 things that don't work.
Everybody has a different opinion.
Yeah.
They're all right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Which right do you want to follow?
Right.
Yeah.
Writers, I always say writers write. Like if you want to be a writer, make sure you're writing.
Yeah.
It's especially starting out, it's real easy to get discouraged because you hear over and over people tell you it's about being in the right place at the right time and it's about knowing the right person. And while that is true, I like to phrase it a little differently and say it's about being prepared to take advantage of an opportunity when that opportunity presents itself. And for writing, that means doing the work beforehand. Have something written. So when someone says, you're a writer? Oh, I'd love to read something that you've written. You could say, okay, here you go. Not, I was thinking about this thing and I could probably have that ready in like a couple of months. Like that's a wasted opportunity. And that will present itself. And if you're not prepared to take advantage of it, that's gone. And it gives you a feeling of control in an industry where a lot of times you don't feel like you can control anything. The other thing is, yes, it's about knowing the right people. But you know the right people or will know the right people if you're putting yourself out there. They just don't know that they're that person yet, and you don't know that they're that person yet, but you're building relationships.
Yeah.
Somebody somewhere will get in, and if you made a contact relationship, you've got a shot of somebody helping you out because you're the kind of person that they know is going to help them out when they need that help.
Yeah, and I think it's also about like just networking, like just like linearly. You know what I mean? Like who's right here with you right now?
Yeah.
What's that
And
phrase? A rising tide raises all boats. It's like that's what you kind
I've
of
never
how
heard
we
that.
looked at this industry.
Tsunami does the same thing.
What's that?
Tsunami does the same thing.
That is true. They raise them very high and crash them down. That's what it feels like right now. But like you want your friends to succeed as much as you want to succeed, not just because you're a good person and want your friends to succeed, but also then your friends and your friend group and your relationship web then is in a position to kind of help everybody.
Yeah, get a cohort. And because that like someone gets a leg up and you're like, oh, I see what they did and I could do that. Or like, look at this idiot over there. I can do better than that. It works both ways. And like, hopefully you prop each other up. The other thing, I think you said it just a second ago, Bree, is like if you want to tell stories, and that's what writing is and producing is like you have to live, you have to go out and have experiences. And that is just going to constantly come back to like everything you do. Like when we hear someone talking about like a pitch for a show, the first thing we say to them is like, why do you need to be the one that writes this? Like, because that is like it. You can have the best idea in the world, but like the people that hear pitches all day, and what they need to hear is like your perspective on it. And like if you don't have that like experience that can like connect to the subject you're talking about, then it doesn't matter. So you have to go out and have those experiences. And when you're on the staff of a show, to be like, when you're on, like in the middle of the season and like we need like to fix the third act of this, episode that just won't break, to have that like, that conversation you had with your friend over brunch or like, I really pissed off my wife one time when I did this. Like those are the things that you need to be able to like throw out. And then like hopefully someone else in the room can kind of like pick it up. And it's not like you're going to like take your life and put it on TV, although my wife has accused me of doing that. And but you iterate on your experiences, and that's like, that is what writing is. And so like if all you do is like, sit and like write your scripts, you're not going to have anything to say.
Yeah, and they may be the same script after a certain point.
Yeah,
you might start
sure.
seeing a different, like that kind of pattern take place.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I definitely can agree with that. And so, lastly, you both have maintained very well balanced careers in life. So outside of the writer's room, so how would you both say that you've been able to find your balance? So we talked about different things that you do to replenish yourself. So how do you continuously balance and figure out what that check and balance looks like? Really based on where you're at, but then also what you have to do and the demand you have in your career.
That can be really hard in this business because when you're working, depending on what's going on, you can be somewhere for 18 hours a day. Mm-hmm. And it's been important for me, at least in the times when I'm not working, to take advantage of that time and make sure that my kids want to do something, great, let's drive 2 hours to go out and do X, Y, or Z. Like, because you have the time and the opportunity to do it, even though you might be exhausted and it's like, oh, I don't want to do this. But later on, when you're in a room working till 11 o'clock at night, those are the things you remember, oh, this is like, I get so mad that I'm missing, and sad that I'm missing all these other things. Like, now you have the time to do it, so do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure there are other ways, but I think we both found it with like kids. It's like it changes your perspective because they just take over. I mean, that's the only way to put it. Like, do I want to drive to Pasadena on a Saturday and sit through a 4-hour gymnastics meet for middle schoolers when then followed, Bree, by a 90-minute awards ceremony? 90 minutes for the awards. They all get medals. Like, that's an entire
2 hours
day
in traffic to go back home.
Exactly. Like, zero part of me like wants this. This is not my choice, and yet there is nowhere I'd rather be, because this is her day, and like to see her shine, to see her get frustrated with herself and like try harder. Like these are great things. So I think again it just goes back to you have to have things outside of the career that you're invested in, that you care about, and like watching kids is just for us it just was like we're very fortunate that it happened, because it's hard doesn't happen for everybody, and it happened for us, and and our kids are endlessly fascinating, which is not to say that they're good. No, they're
But
a pain.
fascinating.
Yes.
Sometimes, sometimes the best and most entertaining things, not always inside the line. So it's all right.
And we do work with a lot of people that don't have children. They seem to go on a lot of trips. And, they, have a lot of Instagram shots of them sipping white wine on a beach somewhere.
A lot of people do unemployment a lot differently than we do unemployment. We had a friend who's like, oh, yeah, look at me. I'm on a bullet train in Japan. I'm like, we lead very different lives.
Yeah.
I'm in the dugout.
That's hilarious.
Working with a kid who's never put the glove on his head and trying to catch a ball with his hat. All right.
Over here getting sunburned.
Enjoy your bullet train in Mount Fuji.
Right. Tell me about it.
Smart. Catch the ball with your head.
I did that.
Yeah, I love that. And also, just leaning in, it's like that too is enriching your legacies, right? Because it's like these are your children. This is who you're investing in, and this is who you love. You know what I mean? This is a part of you. And also, you have that time to kind of find that balance there, because it's like it's certain stages of their lives that it's like, okay, it's only a certain period that they're going to be in middle school at a gymnastics meet. So it's like, okay, I got to seize these opportunities where they lie. So I think that having that change in perspective on your parts and just like saying like, okay, no, I am going to, just shift and pivot. It's like, that's doing whatever it's going to do in the background, or that's good. It's good to go. It's kind of on autopilot, or I have people who I trust in those different spaces to take care of that while I go do this real quick, because this is something that matters to me.
Right.
It's one of those things where if you put in the time and invest it, it's the greatest part of your day if you do a good job.
Yeah.
And if you do a horrible job, they put you in jail.
Yeah. You will know if you're doing a horrible job.
My child tells me a horrible job every day. So, yeah.
Then that means you're doing the right
jail
job.
yet.
If the child is saying it, then you're probably doing it properly.
Okay, sure. You tell her that, Bree.
I don't know. I don't have no kids, but I'm just somebody's aunt. However, when
By the way, I was the greatest uncle.
Yeah, it's fun. That's the fun road to me.
Not always so great at being a dad.
It's learning. At least because I think you're always trying to be better. So
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, thank you for telling us how you guys pour into yourselves.
Thank you.
Thank you for asking. And thank you for the tea.
Delicious.
Here, shall we cheers?
Cheers.
Thank you.
Clink.
Now, let's get a little wild and a little nosy in Wildflower, our rapid this or that game.
Oh, wow.
Are y'all
This or
ready?
that. Okay.
Rapid.
Yeah, it's
We
rapid.
don't do anything rapidly. Okay.
Mosey or amble at best.
It's a good meander.
Yes.
So what we're going to do is we have some this or that questions here.
Okay.
And then you guys are going to alternate, but you both are going to answer.
I'm ready. Hit me. This is a rapid fire.
Pitching a new show or joining an established room?
Oh, God, we hate pitching, so I'm going to have to say it's hardest thing though. Like we've only done it a couple times. Joining an established room is hard because there's a lot of like baggage that goes on. We always talk about when we were on According to Jim for 7 seasons, and like around like year 6 or 5, this guy named Hayes Jackson came in, and he's a great writer, great guy, and like just for like 3 months. He would be like, "What if Jim?" And like everybody would be like, "No, we can't do that," because we all know like what.
You want to get fired tomorrow?
Yeah, what failed. So it's hard.
Oh. Ooh. Liv and Maddie or Linda and Heather?
Oh wow,
That's a great one.
God. Oh, they put an ampersand for the Liv and Maddie. That's wow. Somebody didn't do their research. I mean, assuming the people listening aren't going to understand that. So Liv and Maddie was a show we created. Linda and Heather was a show that the youngest brother on Liv and Maddie watched, that we created because we had a focus group test where
This was pretty great.
young boys came in. Like the network was worried that boys weren't watching the show, and like to back it up a little bit, we said maybe we shouldn't name the show after 2 girls if we want boys to watch, and they were like, let's call it Liv and Maddie. And then they were like, boys aren't watching. And then we went focus group testing, which is we go to an office park and you watch middle schoolers destroy your life's work. And
It's the fact that it's middle school.
yeah.
Like,
So they sent the boys in, and like the girls were like, "Yeah, we like it." I mean, they were 12-year-old girls, so had to get a little like snide. But 12-year-old boys, they show them an episode of the show, and they all like pulled their hoodies all the way over their heads, like they just wanted to like
Hated us.
hated us, and like
Wanted everyone to know how
Right.
much they hated us.
this show sucks.
yeah,
and,
because
like,
I was gonna say they're gonna amplify it times 10.
and these two boys just kept going back and forth. And like one was like, "I'd rather sleep in a cave of farts than watch Liv and Maddie." And like but then like,
That's crazy.
and the moderator was like, she was just like done with them. She was like, "Oh," and the Disney Channel guy was like, "Let's just cut them loose. We got what we need." And she was like, "No, we paid them for the whole hour. They're staying here this whole hour. It's like, tell me something to ask them." And then we had asked the girls, "Who do you like better, Liv or Maddie?" So she goes back in and says, "Who do you like better, Liv or Maddie?" And they're all like, "They both suck." And this one boy says, "I think Liv is hot." And they all are like, "Oh, girl." He's like, "What do you?" And the moderator's like trying to like keep this, like, this is the first positive thing anyone says. And she's like, "Do you think Maddie is attractive?" And he's like, "No way, she's so gross." So then the other guy, who like the Cave of Farts kid, was like, "Wait a minute. That's the same girl. They both play the same part. How do you not know that, man?" And like all the boys are just like piling on him, and like we think he's gonna cry, and like they're gonna like Disney Channel's gonna like clear out our offices.
Like, we are so fired at this point.
But
Right,
but
it's a wrap.
that first kid, the guy who's like Liv is hot, goes, "Wait a minute. How do you know that if you don't watch the show?" And then that boy, like the Cave of Farts kid, was like, "Oh," and then he just caved. And he was like, "All right, I watch it, and it's really funny." And then like, the whole table just collapsed.
One by one, like they were coming out or something. He's like, "Yeah, I watch your show too. I thought I was the only one who watched it. I thought."
They just watch
And then it suddenly becomes like the greatest support group of all time
Yeah.
for boys.
Well,
who are
I
like,
was the only person
"You know
who
what?
watched
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, I watch a girl show. I don't care. I'm glad
They
it's fine that somebody
sang
else
the
does."
theme song together. We couldn't believe it.
So we completely ripped that off and
Yes.
created the storyline for Linda and Heather based on that storyline.
That like the brother gets caught like watching it by his like friends. They see him talking about it, and they're like, "Oh, you watch a girl's show," and then like one of them slips up and says some like trivia thing, and then Parker is like, "Wait a minute, how do you?" And literally they played the whole thing out, and they all admit that they love it, and they sing the theme song together. So that was like, I think like that it became this like show within the show, and we could only do the audio side of it because we didn't have the money
Named
to like.
after two of the writers in the show. By the
Right,
way,
that was my
Linda.
favorite. Like,
wow.
we're gonna call it after these two, and they were in the room being like, "Really, we're gonna call it Linda and Heather?" They were so nervous. And then like we got to use it throughout the show. Like then there was like at the end of I think it was the end of the second season, the network told us like that was like the only time they knew for sure we were definitely going to come back and do another season. They said, "We want you to do a cliffhanger to get people like," and we're like, "Okay, great." And we had like this thing with like Maddie and her boyfriend, and then like literally the next day they call and say like, "Kids don't know what cliffhangers are. We're worried they're going to think like there was some kind of glitch and their cable went out." So they're like, "Can you explain a cliffhanger?" And we're like, "Sure." And we just had the little brother watching Linda and Heather, and he got cliffhangered, and we like literally explained to the audience what a cliffhanger was, and then the very next scene was a cliffhanger. It was
The
amazing.
mind-blowing thing
That's
about Linda and
actually very
Heather
funny.
is a decade after the show had been off the air,
Yeah.
suddenly the theme song to Linda and Heather, "Pink, pink, pink, girls, 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 glitter, 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 twirls, twirls, twirls," becomes like
Sing
the
the whole
hottest
thing.
on TikTok. Like Kardashians are doing the Linda and Heather
was
theme song.
amazing.
It was. I thought someone was goofing on me when they showed it to me the first time. And I was like, "No, this is everywhere."
Oh it was my oldest daughter. She was like 12. She's like, "Dad, I have to talk to you." And I was like, "Oh no!" And she's like, do you know you're like on TikTok?" I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And like she showed me this like page after page after page of these people dancing to the Linda and Heather theme. We couldn't believe like that this one little like snippet of the show had like lived beyond its years. So, and the other thing was like to go back to what we were talking about, collaboration. Like that was like a great example of us like learning how to run a show by creating a fake one, because the writers just like got into it because like we had to like have the brother talking about what was going on the show, and then we have these little snippets of like the dialogue that we could hear, and it became like I was like, it's exactly like Liv and Maddie, and they're like, no, Linda's a vampire, and they're going to go to the space station, and like, I'm like, what is this? And like, and the network would like be like, well, it's a little inconsistent that why would a vampire go to space? I was like, wait a minute. You can't give us notes on, like, that isn't your show. That is not a Disney Channel show.
Easter egg within the
They
show.
started pitching all the stuff that, like, the types of things that we would usually have to say no to, and it's like,
You
guess
actually
what?
can
Now we get to say yes.
Yeah.
Whatever you need that to be.
Well, we love a show within the show
Yes.
because it's always a good one.
It's fun.
But y'all gave us good stories, but y'all ain't picked.
I'm going to say Linda and Heather. As much as I Liv and Maddie,
Wow.
I feel like that was
All right.
That was,
I did not know this
I
about
think Linda and Heather was the show that taught me how much I loved Liv and Maddie. I'll say it that way. Yes.
Oh.
Yes. I know the answer to this one. Working with new actors or working with experienced actors?
I love working with new actors.
Yeah.
Because you get to kind of teach them how to do this in the way that's going to be most beneficial for them, not just for the part, but also in life. We always like to say we're dads first and producers second. So we're not only trying to teach you how to do this line correctly, but also how to approach your workload, whether it's building a discipline, and whatever it is that you're going to do after you're with us, whether it's for a week or whether it's for a series, and whether you're going off to do another series or whether you're going off to do high school or college. We want to build that structure to help you succeed afterwards. And it's always fun to see somebody get it and just not only get it as far as performing, but also just to get that first part for the first time. It's, oh my gosh, that's the most exciting thing ever, and that's fun for me.
Yeah, and also just that doesn't shock me that that's your answer, just because both of you have like given notes of saying like we like the mentorship aspect, but also you guys have worked with children and in children's programming. So again, like seeing them being able to develop and kind of setting the foundation for new people to come in, and you like doing that with even writers too. So that actually doesn't shock me either.
You know, like we've been lucky to see a lot of them like kind of like flourish, do better than us is I guess what I would say.
D.L. Hughleys or Steve Harvey.
Oh, wow. Who knew that I worked with Steve Harvey? Oh, okay.
Miles sold you out.
Can I tell my Steve Harvey story then?
Yeah.
Yeah, we want to hear. It sounds like you have a king of comedy.
We know all the kings of comedy.
everybody.
It's true.
Yeah, I guess we worked with all four.
I mean, Cedric was
Hello,
around
us.
too.
Again, what did I say? A goat, and y'all are like, oh no. But
So, I was one of my first PA jobs.
We worked with the queen of comedy as well.
That's true.
With Adele.
Adele
wow.
Givens, yeah. One of my first jobs as a PA was Me and the Boys, which was the first show Steve Harvey was on. Now that he's on like show 800 now.
yeah. In county.
And he was like, he had just gotten like all this buzz because he had gone around and was doing these like basically motivational like stay off drug speeches as a comedian. He was very funny. At the time, people would say he's like a young Bill Cosby, and it was considered a good thing.
Yes. Okay. We have to set the
It was
scene.
considered a
Yeah.
night. Yes.
Yeah.
So, and Steve was great. Yeah.
Yeah. The context is a compliment in that time. Yes.
And he was very much like, like he was excited because it was like his shot, and he was, he had brought some of his stand-up people into the room to kind of like, help make it black. Let's be honest. Like that was because there was a lot of white guys writing for Steve.
Yeah.
So anyway,
yeah, you need authentic voice in there
It's
and
100%.
representation in both places. Yeah.
100%.
and I really think Steve was like, a once in a generation comic, and I was lucky to see him a number of times do stand up. And so he was going to do a show with, there was a guy named Rashawn McDonald and Janthony Brown. They were writers on the show, and they were going to do a show. and they had gotten Steve to headline for them. And it was at a place called Maverick Flats, which I think still exists. It's down like on Crenshaw in South LA. And I was like, can I get into the show? And he's like, oh, yeah, let me set up tickets for you. And Ben was like a PA on the show. And so I go with Ben to the show. And Ben is black, which I point out just to say that I was the only white person in this club, okay? And I was like, oh, okay. I didn't really think a lot of it at the time. So we're like, getting drinks at the bar or whatever. And then like, J. Anthony Brown is the host. He's getting on. He's doing his bits or whatever. And this is like, if you know a comedy club, like that's like we're starting the night off. And then Steve Harvey, the headliner, comes out on stage. And he's like, hey, wait. And J. Anthony's like, what's going on? I say, I'm sorry. I don't mean to mess everything up. Where's Ron? And everybody's like looking around like, come on, y'all. I know you didn't lose him. Where's the white boy? And I swear to God, every single hand lifted up and turned and pointed directly at me. I was like, oh my God. And then he's like, oh, hell no, you can't sit back there. We saved you a seat up front. And like literally the crowd parts like the Red Sea. And they like just kind of guide me to the front where they have this like throne set up for me to sit on. And the entire night, it was like the height of like Def Comedy Jam. So like there's a lot of comedians who was like, this is how Brother does it. This is how white guy. But that night it was like, this is how Ron walks.
Why do you keep getting lit up by the Kings of Comedy?
Lit up. And then, so finally Steve came out at the end of the night. This is the craziest thing. He literally had the audience give me a round of applause for being white. It was literally, but it was the most fun I've ever had at a show. It was so awesome. Yeah, so that all that to say, though, I got to pick DL because we would not be here without
100%
him.
DL.
Yes,
Yeah.
DL.
That's our guy.
Tween show or adult shows?
That is a tough one. Like I said, I love the amount of kids shows we have done, especially since especially my kids were at the age where they were your audience when we were doing them. So it was really cool to be able to have our kids come hang out, and they thought it was like Dad does something cool.
But the adult shows pay much more.
We love both. It's weird. We don't approach them any differently. We've always, when we've done kids shows, we make it as if we're doing an adult show on network, and I mean it's much harder to do a kids show than it is for an adult show, which most people don't realize, because you have to teach 10-year-olds to do the same thing that you've got 35, 40-year-olds doing, and they don't have nearly as much time to do it, and they have to be significantly bigger. You can get away with an adult show with people kind of sitting on a couch having a conversation. When you're doing a kids show, you've got to have massive gags and big visuals because kids like bigger things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's tween shows because it just when when we do the comedies, we do a lot of multicams and you film in front of an audience, ideally.
That is electric.
To see like that young audience and like they're just connecting to it on a level like without any sort of like irony or they're not too cool for it. Like these are the first stories they're falling in love with, and these are the first characters they're getting invested in. And
You'll never have an audience more invested in what you're doing.
That's true.
These are their friends.
They're dialed in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I remember on Shake It Up, it hadn't aired, and then we're filming the show for like 5 or 6 weeks, and then like over a Thanksgiving weekend, Disney Channel dropped the trailer for the show, a 30-second spot saying like coming this fall or whatever, Shake It Up, and the next taping it was like Ed Sullivan and the Beatles. It was like you couldn't hear yourself.
You couldn't stand in one direction too long, or else like you couldn't hear out of the ear. You had to turn yourself around just because Disney Channel said these kids are going to be stars.
Right. And now they recognize them, and it was like, oh my God, Zendaya. Yeah.
Yeah. And they were right.
They were right. Yep.
All right.
Is you trying to get a good one?
Twisting it around.
Disney Channel or Nickelodeon?
Oh, wow. Are we allowed to take the fifth?
Right? You
Who's
can
listening? We love you
listen,
both. Yeah.
I was gonna say I do allow a cheat on a This Is That, so that might be the best one to cheat on for this one.
They are weirdly slightly different in how they do things.
Yeah.
Nickelodeon has always wanted to do the big, funny, and not worry so much about the heartfelt moments.
Mhm.
And Disney Channel is like, let's land these heartfelt moments. Nickelodeon's main audience is more boys, and Disney Channel is more girls.
Yeah.
So it is a slightly different tone.
And then just as a work experience, Disney Channel is very top down, very like, I wouldn't say authoritarian. I didn't say that, but they have like a very like definitely like a management structure of like being like in charge of their shows, whereas Nickelodeon's more of like an anarchy. And part of it is because their leadership is always kind of turning over. So that's a very different thing. We have had so much fun at both of those places. They've both been very good to us and given us a lot of opportunities. That being said, we did create a show for Disney Channel. They were the ones who like made us showrunners. So I think we got to go with Disney Channel. Yeah, I don't think that's.
I
too
think
hard
that's
to
fair.
pick.
That's
Yes.
a fair thing
Yeah.
to say.
This is a tough one. Writing or producing?
Oh, boy, that's tough. Producing, and that's because you're actually making something. Writing is obviously where it all kind of stems from, but when you're producing, you're actually creating something that people are going to see, whether it's a pilot and maybe it's just seen internally, or whether it's an episode that's going out everywhere, and you get to actually get people up on their feet doing something and making something. Obviously love writing too, but it's like you're right to get to the point where you're producing.
Yeah.
As far as I look at it.
I'm going to cheat on this one and say they are the same thing. Because I think all producing is writing, because
You said we could have one to cheat, and then he just
Well,
cheated
it's
again
two
the
of
second
you.
time.
But this
It's
is
two of you.
fine.
So you get two cheats, I guess.
the difference between writing and producing to me is experience. Like the longer we have been in this business, the more we've learned about what's going to work and what isn't going to work, and when to take a chance and when to like kind of stick to what you know. And it's like whether it's like on Disney Channel, like if a scene was more than 5 pages, our actors were going to fall apart. Like it was just too much for them to memorize for one
And
shot.
our audience would get bored.
Our audience would get bored. Yeah. So, learning things like that, or like if you send down a script with like 8 different sets in it, but your soundstage only has room enough for 6, you're going to have problems. Those are like the things that you learn as a writer coming up, and then you like produce things knowing that. So I think they're to me, all producing is writing, and not all writing is producing. I think John has a good point that the producing you're actually making something. So yeah,
Look at y'all. Y'all
agreement.
agreement.
Last one.
Last one.
Cake or pie?
Really?
No.
It's
Stand
like
up.
we're gonna fight.
Stand up or scripted?
Stand up or scripted?
Yes.
I mean, scripted, right? I mean, I love what. I mean, is that like in terms of what I want to watch? I mean, I do.
Or what you enjoy doing, right? So like, or which medium do you enjoy? Do you have?
Yeah. No, I think it's the scripted world. Like to me, it's like, I think we've talked about this a lot. It's the collaboration. It's like working together and like getting like a team of people that can all row in the same direction. Like that is just like so exciting, and like especially on a multi-camera where you're filming it in front of an audience, and like to see that reaction in real time. You also, the other way is like, it kind of filters back to you when it's on the air. But it's just, I don't know, there's something really electric about it. And like, we were on Fuller House for 2 seasons, and, people have their problem with it. It's probably not something I would watch. But like, just the audience for that show just was so invested in it, so loved it. And we couldn't write a bad joke because they were just going to laugh at it. Like they were there to laugh.
They were
So-
just happy everybody was
tried.
back, and yeah.
Yeah. So that was just like so much fun. And I think any version of stand-up is ultimately a solitary pursuit. And, God bless anyone who does it. But it's,
And let's be honest, good stand-up comedy is scripted. You just don't feel like it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're good enough to make it seem like they're just kind of coming up with it on the fly, but
It's
stand-up
a whole
comedy
act,
is you'd be stunned at how meticulous everything is crafted, and so I know exactly how to hit this word in the right way, and that's road tested, and that's all scripted, not just wing. I mean, obviously there's crowd work and you're going off script, but it's very well plotted out.
Yeah. So yeah, the writers like to script it.
Yeah.
Hard to believe.
No. Well, you guys survived the wildflowers. You guys did amazing. Did it. And we got a lot of gems along the way. So thank y'all.
Thank you.
We know that no one can do this alone. And give them their flowers. We would love to know who is inspiring you. All right. So, John and Ron, who would each of you like to give flowers to and why?
I have two answers.
Okay.
First and foremost, I think both of our wives deserve some flowers because when you are working in this industry, there's a lot of times when you're not home and they have to.
I was totally going to say it, honey, but he did it first.
They have to pick up a lot of slack. There's vacations we don't get to go on because we're tied to the stage. There's bedtimes that we don't get to be there for. There's dinner times we don't get to be there for, especially when our kids were really young when they were. It's being a production widow, I've heard it called, is not an easy thing. The other person I would give some flowers to, and I think Ron would also agree, we're big fans of a producer named Gary Marshall. Gary did Happy Days, Laverne and Shirley, Mork and Mindy, and we're all on the air at the same time, 3 out of the top 5 shows, and we learned more from Gary on how to produce and direct and write just by staying home sick and watching his stuff on syndication when we were kids. And one of Gary's favorite sayings, which has always been really important to me, was it's nice to be important, but it's more important to be nice.
Oh, wow.
And
I love that.
Kind of how we've, at least, that's kind of how we try to run our rooms and interact with people. So
we got to work with Gary twice. He was on According to Jim and Liv and Maddie and was just the nicest guy. And then on Side Hustle, to go, like when we were like working with masks and on Zoom and everything, we were actually in like the building that he ran Happy Days and
my office
Shirley
was
out of.
the writer's room, and our
Yeah.
stage was the Happy Days stage. And it was one of those ones. It's like, okay, how would Gary handle this today? Like, okay, let's just find a way that I can see everybody's stressed out. We're just gonna make people laugh behind the cameras as well. Just everybody needs a stress release.
Yeah, and I mean, like, if you're going to channel a person, you might want to channel Gary because he had a lot of.
We actually found
moving parts.
a picture. Actually, Henry Winkler, I think, tweeted out a picture with Gary sitting on the steps of the building with all 3 of his casts, and it was during a week where we happened to have we were producing Side Hustle and That Girl Lele at the same time, and had a big 5-show crossover, and we were able to take all of our casts and recreate the picture, which was like we didn't even know it was like a famous steps. It was like where FedEx dropped stuff off at our building. we created the same picture, which is one of my favorite possessions. It's pretty cool.
Wow, that actually is super special.
It was really neat.
Now I have to go. I mean, I feel like we talked about Unetta a couple times, and I go back to her as like, and in that first room, I mean, we didn't mention, but there was, Billy Van Zant and Jane Milmore were also, 2 like showrunners who they were a team, and they also just were like that's funny, say it louder, like that was like Billy's thing, so yeah, I think just having mentors, it's such a a big deal. It makes such a difference, and I feel like even like David A. Arnold, who we met like much later in our career, and like on paper we have more experience than him, but he was like definitely like a mentor to us, and like just like understanding like how to like keep things in perspective, and like to not care about the things that don't matter. So I don't know. I'm just rattling on now.
And
but
obviously, DL gets flowers.
flowers.
Y'all
Yeah.
keep your damn flowers.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And our wives.
Yes. Okay. Shout out to the wives. Okay.
Yes.
All right. Well, I think that those are lovely answers, and
you.
we thank you for sharing those with us. Also, we would love to conclude this episode by giving you both your flowers because we're so inspired by you as individuals. We're inspired by your work. We're inspired by the messages that you spread with your work and the legacy that you created with your careers and how you guys rose from the concrete. So I have flowers for you.
Thank
For
you.
what it's worth, we are inspired by your energy and your passion.
Yeah.
So,
Thank you. So we have your flowers.
thank you very much.
Thank you.
You're welcome. We have cards.
Oh,
Well,
cards and flowers.
that's yours.
Thank you.
And that's yours.
How does the podcast feel about all this cellophane? That's terrible.
Listen,
idea,
this
Miles.
is
Come on.
part of the
Come on, Miles.
process.
What are you
They have
doing?
to get these
Killing
flowers.
yourself here. Your editor's got to take all this out. Thank you so much. This is
Thank
awesome.
you guys so much. And also, before you leave, is there anything that you guys would like to share with us and that we can share with our viewers? If not, it could just
Oh my
be
God,
it could be a social
We've said
handle.
so much
yeah.
stuff. Yeah.
I don't know. What is there anything we haven't
Anything
talked
coming
about?
up or
I mean,
anything like
The
that?
thing John said that was, writer's right, I think is an important thing. Is there anything for us coming up? No. God,
Mm-hmm.
no. Please. Somebody, please, one of you LMU students reinvent Hollywood so we can work
I may
again.
be standing
Yeah.
outside the entrance room trying to sell these flowers.
Yeah, we'll go sell these on a corner of Slauson and La Cienega. It's true. Yeah. No, I mean we're always developing and trying new things, but it's a bleak time. So
It'll turn around. It always does.
keep your head up.
Yeah. Well, we love that. We love to leave on a positive note. And so thank you, John and Ron.
Thank you.
And we'll see you guys on the next episode of From the Concrete.
From the concrete.